Right, welcome back to the Jack Ward Football Podcast, and welcome to an episode I had no intention of making, this early at least. But Liam Manning has left Oxford United. He joins Bristol City in the Championship. I can't quite believe I'm saying those words. I'm gutted. I am distraught. I feel deflated. And like I said, I still can't quite believe it. I don't think it's sunk in yet. Of course it will over time. But it came out of the blue almost. Or it began as rumours, as murmurs that felt as if they were only rumours and murmurs. But on Monday, yesterday as of recording, it just escalated massively. It escalated to a degree that I thought, this isn't right. And it began on Saturday after the game against Maidenhead in the FA Cup. Manning failed to rule out a hypothetical situation in which Bristol City would approach him. And of course, now they have approached him. It looks as if, as of recording, it hasn't been officially confirmed, I should say that, but I'm very, very certain this will happen, and this has been done. But I wasn't totally convinced. I tweeted at the time, I said, I'm not totally convinced by Liam Manning and his failure to rule out this opportunity in the Championship. And then on Monday, things have developed, and things did develop very, very quickly. Contact was made, we believe, in the morning, and by the afternoon, it looked as if compensation talks were beginning between the two football clubs. And when that does happen, things have obviously developed very, very quickly. But that doesn't take anything away from the fact I'm still surprised, I'm still annoyed, I'm frustrated, and most of all, I'm upset and deflated because this season had so much optimism, excitement riding on it, and that was down to Liam Manning and what he had achieved. Since he really joined in March, he shifted the culture, he shifted the attitude, and especially over the summer and going into this season, after 15 games, we're second in Sky Bet League One. It felt as if we were really and finally on the right track. But it hasn't worked out that way, or it hasn't worked out that way under Liam Manning in the long term and going forward. Clearly, he's left us. We have to question loyalty. And look, Manning has done a fantastic job. And we'll come on later about how he has transformed this football club and how he has left the football club in a better way than when he joined. That can't be doubted, and we'll touch on that a bit more later. But we have to question the loyalty. I said this is a raw, honest conversation, and loyalty and integrity, honesty must be mentioned. We have to question the loyalty of Liam Manning in this situation. Oxford gave him a chance when nobody else would. I mean, down the line they would have done, but at the time, nobody in League One was looking at Liam Manning or was looking to appoint Liam Manning, and we did. We gave him that opportunity. We believed in the fantastic and proven coaching ability, top-level coaching ability that he can provide. We trusted him. We allowed him to join and transform the club, and it worked out to be a hugely positive thing. But the loyalty issue for me comes down to giving him that opportunity, and then at the first chance of a new opportunity, he leaves us. And that's really frustrating. We've almost revived his managerial career and his coaching career at the top level, or at the, I'd say top level, not quite the top level, but in the Football League and in League One. And he's jumped ship at that first chance. And that's where I think you have to look at integrity and loyalty, because we have revived his managerial career. His stock wasn't very high when we took him on. We believed in his values and his ability, ultimately, and he has proven that. He's proven all of that. But the first chance of jumping ship and a new opportunity, he has left us. He's moved on. He spoke about the journey, bringing together a new culture, buying into a new culture and behaviours, and I just feel a sense of hypocrisy within that. The journey hasn't lasted long. The journey looked as if it was a long-term one. We gave him a long-term contract. He's a young, upcoming, progressive coach. And I'm not surprised he's drawing huge attention from Championship clubs. And if anything, it's a massive indicator that he's doing something right. But it still hurts. It's still deflating. It's still frustrating. And I still do feel he's let us down a little bit. He's let us down. I don't think he's just let the fans down. I think he's let the players down, the hierarchy down as well. The players I'll touch on first. How are these players going to react to this? So much of that summer recruitment was driven by him selling the project to a group of players that, let's be honest, in previous years, Oxford have not been able to attract. We were bringing in targets that other football clubs desperately wanted, but because Liam Manning was selling them a fantastic long-term project, and I don't like using that word, but it's the truth, they wanted to be part of it. And now he's left so early on in that. How do they react? It's a massive disruption, a huge disruption to a group of players that were buying into everything that manager said and did. And he's gone at the first chance, so early on, in such a good place, and leaves us in a good place, but he's such a big part of that. He's the head, the key cog in all of that, and he's left us at this moment. The hierarchy, I think he's let down as well. The board, they heavily backed him in the summer. I come down to how it affects players, and the recruitment in the summer was driven by him. And how does that affect the individuals that work under him? But the hierarchy that work above him, I think he's let them down as well. I do. They backed him heavily in the summer. Everything that he wanted, pretty much, they did and made sure they did and tried their best to do. That can't be denied. It's one of the best summers we've ever had. He had some key targets. They brought in players that Liam Manning wanted, that played the Liam Manning way. And so far, you can say, on reflection, it's been a tremendous summer window that Manning was very demanding within. He wanted a lot of those players, all of those players, and he was a key part in bringing them in. But he needed to be backed financially, and he was. And again, of course, he probably ends with a good relationship with the owners because he has, like I say, really rebuilt and refreshed that team. And of course, they've approached and they've obviously agreed a compensation. So it has been a fairly quick and straightforward thing to happen. But I still think he's let them down. And of course, they gave him the opportunity as well when nobody else would touch him. They gave him that chance. They gave him a long-term contract. And they said, we'll buy into you. He said, you've got to buy into me. And that worked, but for a very short period of time. And I'm gutted it ends so quickly. Now, of course, he does leave Oxford in a better position than when he joined, and that can't be doubted. The squad is rebuilt, it's refreshed, it needed to be rebuilt and refreshed, and it has been. Like I said, Liam Manning was a big part of that. The brand of football is progressive, exciting, and it's winning games of football. We're second in the table. The league position could hardly be improved. Remember, he kept us up last season, and we thank him for that, and he has transformed and refreshed that team. But I'm still deflated. Of course I'm still deflated, because it's a massive shame that Manning couldn't follow through what he started. And I honestly thought he could. I honestly thought he would. But he hasn't. And he's not going to. But he does leave the football club in a better position. And he said that. He said he would. The intentions were to leave. And when he does leave eventually, and in years to come, that Oxford United could be sustainable and in a much better place in the long term. It hasn't been the long term. It's very much been the short term. But he has fulfilled that promise of leaving us in a better place than when he joined. It wasn't hard, I'll be honest. We were terrible. Last season was turgid. And the optimism of this season, the excitement of this season, and the feel-good factor of this season, a lot of that is built from the fact that last season was so bad. And we've been, I think, brought back to life almost as a fan base, as a football club. The players feel like that as well, I think, just by watching them. So for that to be sucked out of you like this, with this piece of news, it's massively, massively gut-wrenching. And so annoying. Will he go on to have a wonderful career in management? No doubt. I think he absolutely will. He will manage in the Premier League, I'm sure of it. He will manage in the Premier League. I am certain of that. Does the Bristol City job suit him? 100%. I just think from a selfish perspective, he owed us more. But does anyone owe anything in football? Is loyalty even a thing in football? I don't think it is. Of course, money does talk. And we believe Bristol City, I can offer him a pretty substantial pay rise. He'll say it's not about the money. And I don't think it is all of it. I think there is a big opportunity at Bristol City, a fantastic squad, a fantastic group of players built over the summer. Didn't work out with Nigel Pearson, a progressive manager, and Liam Manning ticks that box fantastically well. They have got money, and they've been ambitious, Bristol City, and they've gone and said, look, we'll take a team like Oxford, and we'll take their manager, who are, in second place and flying, and he's obviously a huge part of that. But we're not afraid to take him. We're not afraid to take a manager performing at a fantastic level in the Football League. Of course, it's gutting from our perspective, But from their perspective, Bristol City fans, you've got a fantastic coach there. You've got a fantastic coach who I genuinely do believe can take them to the Premier League. He's got all of the attributes to do so. It's just a shame he couldn't add a promotion from League One to the Championship onto his CV. But it's time for a new era, and it's an era that we didn't think we would be starting this early on. But again, we're searching for a new manager or head coach. And it's important to mention, it's massively disappointing what's happened, but we will never be a more attractive League One proposition. We're second in Sky Bet League One, a brilliant squad, a young, fearless, ambitious squad who have the desire to play and have proven they can play very, very good football and win games of football, home and away against any opposition in this league. We are in a fantastic position. We will never be more attractive. This is one of the most, and I know it's biased, this is one of the most attractive EFL jobs right now. And there's a lot of football clubs looking for a manager in the Football League, but Oxford United, having lost their one in Liam Manning, I think will be right up there when it comes to the level of attractive nature this job does provide. But the next manager must play a certain way and the profile must be correct. It sounds obvious, sounds so silly, but it's the truth. We don't have a squad, I don't think, that can deal with a sudden gear change stylistically. We've got a very certain group of players that are fantastic, but they play Liam Manning ball. And Liam Manning ball is no more. But we have to bring somebody in that can ultimately continue in that way. I'm not going to give away my favourites and my candidates for that later on, later down the line. I will probably do that. But it's really important that we don't get ahead of it and we don't rush into a silly appointment. I don't think we will. I trust the owners. I trust the hierarchy, the board that, like I said, were fantastic in the summer and have built a squad that are ready now to play a specific style of football and have done under Liam Manning. But that isn't going to happen anymore. He's left the football club. But the next person has to be correct and it has to fit into what we are looking to do in the long term. The long term that we thought was going to be under the tenure of Liam Manning. It's not going to be the case. Like I said, right at the beginning, to summarise, I can't quite believe I'm saying these words, but Liam Manning is no longer Oxford manager. It's time we look for a new head coach. I'm gutted. I'm distraught and deflated by it. The optimism that was built up, I feel, has left us, and it shouldn't do. We're second in the league. It's November. There's plenty of time, but such a key figure has left the club. And when that happens, the reaction, the fallout, the disruption, that's the anxiety. That's where my anxiety lies. Anyway, I'll leave you. Take care. Have a good rest of your week. I didn't expect to be making this on Tuesday or whenever this goes out. I'm recording this before it's official, but I imagine it will be official, and it will be when I put this out. Have a good rest of your week. I will see you very soon. Let's see what happens. But this is heartbreaking news. Take care.